Sometimes one album is all it takes. A single flawless moment, then silence. These are the R&B bands who gave us perfection and disappeared into the shadows. From a New York group that set the streets on fire to a soulful quartet that left us wanting more, this is R&B's greatest vanishing act. Number 10, Pleasure Principle by Chocolate Milk. The funk that faded too soon in 1981. Chocolate Milk released Blue Jeans, a flawless blend of funk grooves, jazz undertones, and silky R&B vocals. The New Orleans-based band had been building for years, and this album was their crown jewel. Tight horn sections, infectious bass lines, and Leroy Seal's voice melting through every track like candle wax. But the music world was shifting. Funk was falling out of fashion. Labels wanted synth-heavy pop. Chocolate Milk's sound was suddenly considered too analog. Their label dropped them. Tour support dried up, and despite critical acclaim, they vanished from the charts and from memory. You can still feel Blue Jeans on late-night soul stations. That perfect groove lives on, sampled by DJs who know what real funk feels like. Chocolate Milk gave us a masterpiece, and then they were gone. If you think that one stung, the next band disappeared with a platinum record in hand. Number 9, Melissa Morgan presents Shades of Black.
Here we are in this big old empty room.
A storm that never returned. In 1992, a new female vocal group emerged with harmonies that stopped you in your tracks. Shades of Black, produced and fronted by powerhouse Melissa Morgan, dropped one studio album, and it was magic. Smooth production, gospel-rooted vocals, and lyrics soaked in pain, power, and sensuality.
Like it never done before. Oh.
It felt like a reawakening of In Vogue-style elegance, but grittier. Tracks like Craving You and Shadow Games hit urban radio with quiet intensity. Critics praised the group as voices of the next decade. Then came the silence. No tour, no second album, no breakup press release, just absence.
Want you so bad.
Whispers suggest label disputes and internal tension ended it all. But in that one moment, they gave us something unforgettable. And that moment still echoes. And if you think that mystery's haunting, wait till you hear about the group whose album got buried by its own label. Number 8, Silken Soul by The Invitation.
This next one, I gotta keep it real. I got 3 kids off of this next one myself.
It's the masterpiece that never saw daylight. In 1973, a soul group called The Invitations recorded Silken Soul, an album dripping with velvet harmonies, romantic anguish, and lush orchestration. It was meant to be their breakout. They had paid their dues with earlier singles and club performances, and now they were ready to rise. But fate had other plans.
And there's one who's caught my eye.
The album was shelved by the label just weeks before release. Internal mergers and contract drama halted everything. A few singles trickled out with no real push, while the rest of the album gathered dust in a vault. Years later, collectors uncovered unreleased studio cuts and pressed limited vinyls. Those lucky enough to hear them were stunned. It wasn't just good, it was perfect. A lost classic. But the group had long since disbanded, disillusioned by the business.
Because tonight I'm full of fire, babe.
If you've ever heard What Good Am I Without You, you've heard heartbreak set to music, but you've only heard a sliver of what could have been. And just when you think it can't get sadder, one group did release their perfect album and never showed up again. Number 7, Rainforest Echoes by The Naturals.
The kind of girl you read about in magazines, that girl is pretty.
The soul band that ghosted success. In 1986, the Naturals released Rainforest Echoes, a deeply atmospheric R&B album infused with Caribbean rhythms, layered harmonies, and a spiritual edge. It felt ahead of its time. Tracks like Whispering Trees and Edge of Desire weren't just songs. They were soundscapes.
When I get there, she's got incense, wine, and candles. It's such.
The album drew comparisons to May's and early Sade. Critics raved, radio played it, fans searched for tour dates, but no one could find them. The Naturals never performed live, no interviews, no follow-up. Some said it was a studio-only project. Others believed the band splintered during recording. Their identities remained elusive. Session musicians? A ghost band?
That kind you won't take home to mother, and she will never.
To this day, Rainforest Echoes remains a cult classic, streamed by crate diggers and neo-soul fans hungry for lost beauty. And speaking of lost beauty, the next band had the voice of an angel and vanished at the peak of the Quiet Storm era. Number 6, Heart Speak by The Veils.
This is Heartspeak, no need for sound. Every look, every.
The Quiet Storm that never rolled in 1984, just as Quiet Storm R&B was taking over late-night airwaves. A Washington, D.C.-based group called The Veils released Heartspeak. It was a shimmering collection of candlelit ballads, rich synth textures, and harmonies that felt whispered into your ear. Think Anita Baker meets Loose Ends, but male-led and hauntingly delicate.
You never said too much, but I heard it all in the quiet.
The album featured the standout track Without a Sound, a slow burner that gained underground traction on college radio and midnight programs. It was everything the era needed: romantic, introspective, timeless, but the group never followed up. Some say they were studio perfectionists who couldn't translate the sound live. Others blame poor promotion and timing. One member, a former choir director, reportedly walked away from music entirely to become a minister.
Just sings. This is Heartspeak.
Whatever the reason, Heartspeak became their only recorded legacy. A late-night secret for those who still believe in love songs that whisper instead of shout. But the next entry was not quiet. It was explosive. And the band? They walked out after setting the stage on fire. Number 5, In the Heat of It by Street Level. The funk rock fusion that refused to stay, released in 1979, In the Heat of It by Street Level hit like a meteor, blending gritty funk bass lines, wah-wah guitar licks, and political edge. It was equal parts Earth, Wind, and Fire and funkadelic, but with a rougher, street-smart vibe. The album was independently pressed and sold mostly at shows across the Midwest.
Down, get down around the street level.
But it moved. Tracks like Turn It Around and Too Late for Heroes became cult hits in underground R&B clubs. DJs in Chicago and Detroit spun the record relentlessly. There was real buzz. Then came the silence. The band, reportedly fed up with industry rejection, chose not to chase a major label. Their guitarist moved to LA to score films. The rest disappeared into local projects. No reunion, no reissue. Just memories and crate dust vinyls traded for hundreds on Discogs. One perfect album, a flash of brilliance, then gone. If these forgotten gems are hitting you right in the soul, give this video a thumbs up. It helps us bring these stories back to life. And stay tuned. Our top 4 are the most mysterious of all. Number 4, Crimson and Smoke by Lucid Dream. The neo-soul pioneers that never came back. In 1997, just as neo-soul was finding its groove, a Philadelphia-based collective named Lucid Dream released Crimson and Smoke. It was a dreamlike blend of vintage Rhodes keys, analog tape warmth, and vocals that danced between spoken word and falsetto. Picture D'Angelo jamming with Diggable Planets in a candlelit studio.
Get down around the street level.
The lead single, Velvet Hour, caught fire on college stations and indie soul charts. Critics called the album a portal to the future of R&B. Everything pointed toward a breakout moment. But just as quickly as they appeared, Lucid Dream disappeared. Their label went bankrupt. The master tapes were reportedly lost in a studio fire. The group, always secretive, never spoke publicly. No shows, no press, no follow-up. Today, Crimson and Smoke survives only through bootlegs and bootleg memories. It was here, then gone, leaving behind just one radiant flash. And if that's not haunting enough, the next band had all the makings of stardom until one tragedy ended it all. Number 3, Soul Departure by The Eloquence.
Get down around the street level.
Perfection born from pain, ended by silence. In 1989, a trio of childhood friends from Newark called The Eloquence released Soul Departure. It was a cathartic, emotionally raw R&B album built around themes of grief, healing, and faith. The title track dealt with the loss of a sibling, delivered with such vulnerability that listeners were left breathless.
Get down around the street level.
Released on a small East Coast label, the album quickly gained a devoted following. Word spread fast. Even Oprah's team reportedly considered them for a segment on breakout talent. But just as the doors opened, tragedy slammed them shut. Lead vocalist Darren Miles died in a car crash only 3 months after the album's release. The group could not continue without him. Rather than replace a brother in song, they chose to let the album stand as it was. One perfect cry into the void. No second record, no reunion. Just a memory that cuts deep and never fades. And if you thought that was emotional, the next band's story is one of the strangest disappearances in R&B history. Number 2, Electric Love Ritual by The Indigo Frequency.
Get down around the street level.
Brilliance that vanished without a trace. In 1983, a mysterious collective called The Indigo Frequency released Electric Love Ritual. It was unlike anything else. Psychedelic soul, futuristic funk, strange samples, and otherworldly effects turned the record into something that felt alive. Think Prince, Sun Ra, and early Eurythmics meeting for a midnight jam session. It barely charted.
Get down around the street level.
But the few who found it were mesmerized. Speculation spread. Some believed it was a secret project by a famous artist using an alias. Others claimed it was a one-time collaboration between session musicians. The group never toured. No interviews, no photos. Even the label vanished within a year. Today, Electric Love Ritual is one of the most coveted vinyls in rare soul collections.
Get down around the street level.
Sampled by modern visionaries and worshipped by crate diggers, the music lives on. But the band behind it remains a ghost story. Still, nothing compares to the #1 band whose album became iconic only after they were already gone. Number 1, Amber Skies is by Rosewood Avenue.
Magnolias.
The one-hit soul symphony that still echoes. In 1975, a Detroit-based band named Rosewood Avenue released Amber Skies, a sweeping orchestral soul album that played like a love letter to heartbreak. With its lush string arrangements, aching vocals, and poetic songwriting, it captured something rare.
Love.
The standout track, Before the Fall, wrapped sorrow in satin and became an underground favorite. But by the time the album reached a few record store shelves, the band had already dissolved. No one knew who they were. A few session musicians were later identified, but the full story never surfaced. No tour dates were ever scheduled, no live performances were filmed. The label gave up on the project. Rosewood Avenue had quietly called it quits before anyone realized what they had created. Years later, Amber Skies was rediscovered and slowly gained a cult following. It was reissued in the early 2000s to critical acclaim. Artists from Maxwell to Alicia Keys praised its timeless beauty. But the band never returned, not for interviews, not for reissues, not for the applause. They left behind one perfect album and chose to let it speak for itself. One perfect album. That's all it takes to leave a mark. These bands may have vanished, but their voices still play in hearts that remember. Subscribe to keep the groove alive and don't miss what's coming next. Up next, 10 R&B bands destroyed by their own manager. The unforgettable soul tracks that should have been #1. Click the end screen and keep the rhythm rolling. Thanks for joining us on this soul stroll.